Mr. Ahmed was a man who had everything money could buy. He lived in a huge house, drove the finest cars, and ran a company that made billions. People around him admired his success. But all that wealth and power could not fix the one thing he truly wanted: his daughter, Noor. Noor was 6 years old. She had large, curious eyes that sparkled when she smiled, and a laugh that could fill a room with joy. But lately, her laughter had become rare. Noor had been sick for months. No doctor, no medicine, and no treatment seemed to make a difference. Every cough, every small fever, every weak step reminded Mr. Ahmed of his helplessness. He had tried everything. He called the best doctors in the world, flew her to famous hospitals in distant cities, and even arranged private treatments that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. But nothing worked. Each failed attempt weighed on his heart like a heavy stone. One morning, as the sun's first light fell through the large windows of their bedroom, Noor whispered, "Daddy, can we go outside today?" Her small voice was soft, almost like a fragile note in a quiet room. Mr. Ahmed knelt beside her bed and took her tiny hand in his. "I promise, Noor," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I will find a way to make you better." Noor smiled faintly, her small lips curving with effort. "I want to play with the birds," she murmured, her eyes full of hope. Mr. Ahmed felt a lump in his throat. He had the power to control companies, to command armies of workers, and to buy anything he desired, but he could not control his daughter's illness. For the first time, he understood a truth that no amount of money could change: some things in life were bigger than wealth. Some battles had to be fought with more than skill: they needed care, patience, and love. The day passed slowly. Noor rested in her room, and Mr. Ahmed sat nearby, reading every medical report, every doctor's recommendation, every study he could find. Still, nothing gave him hope. In the evening, Noor turned to him with a small frown. "Daddy, why am I always sick?" He stroked her hair gently and whispered, "It's not your fault, Noor. You are strong, and we will keep trying. I promise you, we will find someone who can help." Despite his words, he felt a deep sadness. He had spent years building his life around success, but nothing in his experience prepared him for this helplessness. For the first time, he wondered if there was anyone who could bring back the joy in Noor's eyes. That night, Noor slept lightly, coughing occasionally. Mr. Ahmed stayed by her bedside, watching her chest rise and fall. He thought about all the doctors he had met, all the treatments he had tried, and all the money he had spent. And yet, none of it had brought the one thing he wanted the most: Noor's smile. He leaned back in the chair, exhausted. His phone buzzed with messages from his office, but he ignored them. Right now, nothing else mattered except Noor. As he gazed at her sleeping form, he realized something important. Maybe it was not the doctors or the medicine that she needed most. Maybe, just maybe, Noor needed something else: someone who could bring her happiness, someone who could make her feel safe, loved, and cared for, in a way that no treatment or money could ever do. He did not know who that person could be. He did not know where to find them. But he made a silent promise to himself: he would search for them, no matter how long it took, no matter how far he had to go. For Mr. Ahmed, this was no longer just a mission to heal his daughter's body, it was a mission to heal her heart. And for Noor, her small voice, filled with hope despite weakness, became a guiding light for her father. He would not stop until he saw her laughter again, until he felt the warmth of her happiness spread through their home. Little did he know, help would come from the most unexpected place, and it would change all their lives forever. A few days after Noor's weak smile had lifted Mr. Ahmed's spirits slightly, something unusual happened. There was a soft knock on the door of their home office. Mr. Ahmed looked up from the pile of medical reports and frown lines deepened on his face. He rarely received unexpected visitors, and certainly not in the middle of the afternoon. When he opened the door, a young woman stood there, holding a small bag. She had simple clothes, a calm smile, and eyes that seemed to look straight into the heart. "Hello," she said softly. "My name is Amina. I heard about Noor, and I think I can help her." Mr. Ahmed felt a twinge of irritation. "I appreciate your concern," he said carefully, "but we have tried everything. Doctors, treatments, nothing works." Amina nodded. "I know. I am not a doctor. I cannot cure her illness. But I can help her smile again, and sometimes that is the first step toward healing." Mr. Ahmed studied her closely. She was not rich, not famous, and certainly not someone he had heard of before. Yet there was a calm confidence in her voice that made him pause. Could it be that after all the doctors, after all the money he had spent, someone like this could succeed where they failed? He hesitated, then said, "Very well. You may spend a day with her. But only one day. If this does not help, I cannot allow further visits." Amina smiled gently. "Thank you, sir. I promise I will do my best." That afternoon, she entered Noor's room carrying a small bag filled with colorful papers, crayons, and storybooks. Noor, who had been quietly drawing in her notebook, looked up. Her tired eyes brightened when she saw Amina. "Hello," Noor said shyly. "Hello, Noor," Amina replied, kneeling on the floor to be at her level. "I brought some fun things we can do together." Noor's face lit up in a way Mr. Ahmed had not seen in months. For the first time in a long while, her laughter bubbled out naturally. Amina showed her how to fold paper into little animals, how to draw shapes, and even how to make tiny decorations. Mr. Ahmed watched from the doorway, silently amazed. The laughter, the giggles, the sparkle in Noor's eyes, it was as if a part of her had returned that he thought was lost forever. Amina noticed Mr. Ahmed watching and gave a small nod. "Children need joy, sir. They need to feel loved and safe. Sometimes, that is more important than any treatment." Mr. Ahmed's throat tightened. He had spent so long chasing cures, so long trying to fix what he could not control, that he had almost forgotten the simple power of care and attention. The afternoon passed quickly. Noor's small hands moved eagerly as she created paper animals, decorated them with stickers, and listened to Amina's stories about magical gardens and talking birds. She laughed and whispered secrets to Amina that she had not shared with her father in months. Mr. Ahmed realized that something remarkable was happening. Noor was not just distracted, she was alive again. Her illness was still there, but it seemed smaller somehow, pushed back by the warmth of attention and care. At the end of the day, Noor hugged Amina tightly. "Thank you, Mommy," she whispered. Mr. Ahmed froze. His daughter had never called anyone Mommy except for her mother, who had passed away years ago. And yet, there was no hesitation in her voice, only trust and joy. He walked into the room slowly. "Noor, you said Mommy," he asked gently, trying to understand. Noor nodded, still hugging Amina. "Yes. She plays with me, and she tells me stories. I like her. She is my mommy today." Mr. Ahmed felt a strange mix of emotions: surprise, confusion, and an unexpected relief. He had always believed that his money and influence could give Noor everything she needed, but now he realized that some things could not be bought. Love, trust, and care were far more powerful than any treatment he could arrange. Amina smiled at him. Sometimes, children need someone to be there for them, without pressure, without rules. Just care. That is what Noor needs most. That night, as Noor slept holding a small paper bird she had made, Mr. Ahmed sat quietly beside her bed. He thought about the day, about Amina, and about the laughter he had heard. For the first time in months, he felt hope. It was not the hope that came from doctors or medicine, it was a quiet, gentle hope that came from seeing his daughter happy, even for a moment. He realized that perhaps this was the beginning of something new, a journey not just to heal Noor's body, but to heal her heart. And for the first time, he allowed himself to imagine that there might be someone outside of his wealth and influence who could help him do that. The next morning, Noor woke up early, her eyes searching the room. She whispered, "Is Amina coming today?" Mr. Ahmed smiled softly. "Yes, she will be here soon." Noor's small face lit up. She had not shown such excitement for weeks. The moment Amina arrived, Noor ran to her, holding out both hands. "Mommy," she shouted happily. Amina laughed gently and knelt to hug her. "Good morning, Noor. Are you ready for another fun day?" Noor nodded eagerly. Together, they sat on the floor with crayons, papers, and a small box of paints. Noor's energy surprised Mr. Ahmed. She drew shapes and colored animals, and her laughter filled the room. Amina had a gentle way of talking that made Noor feel comfortable. She asked simple questions, listened carefully, and encouraged Noor to share her thoughts. "What would you like to do today, Noor?" she asked. Noor thought for a moment and then said, "I want to make a garden with paper flowers." Amina smiled and helped her fold colorful paper into flowers of different shapes. Together, they arranged them in a small basket. Noor's small hands worked quickly, and she giggled when one of the flowers fell. Mr. Ahmed watched quietly from the corner. His heart felt heavy, but in a good way. For months, he had only seen his daughter weak and tired. Now, she was alive again. Her laughter, her small steps, her happy chatter, they were like music he had almost forgotten. "You have a special talent, Noor," Amina said warmly. "Look at all these beautiful flowers you made." Noor smiled proudly. "I made them for Daddy too," she whispered, looking at her father. Mr. Ahmed's eyes filled with tears. She was thinking about him, even while playing. But he also understood that her happiness came from someone he had not expected, Amina. Throughout the day, Noor and Amina played, told stories, and created small games. They acted out adventures with paper animals, imagining they were traveling through magical forests. Noor laughed freely, and for the first time in months, she seemed like a normal, happy child. Mr. Ahmed noticed something he had never realized before. The doctors had focused on her body, her illness, her medicine. But Amina focused on her heart. She gave Noor attention, care, and affection. She listened. She smiled. She played. She made Noor feel safe. It was simple, yet powerful. Noor's laughter grew stronger, her small hands moved faster, and her tired eyes sparkled with life. At one point, Noor stopped and hugged Amina tightly. "I like you, Mommy," she whispered. Mr. Ahmed swallowed hard. He had never heard his daughter call anyone Mommy before. It was a sound full of trust, full of love. He realized that his wealth, his doctors, and his power had not given Noor what she needed most. Later, Amina noticed Mr. Ahmed standing quietly in the doorway. "She is happy because she feels cared for," Amina said softly. "Sometimes, love is stronger than any medicine." Mr. Ahmed nodded slowly. He had spent years believing that he could fix everything with money and influence. Now, he understood a new truth: care, attention, and love were sometimes the greatest power of all. As the afternoon sun filled the room with warm light, Noor played on the floor, laughing and talking. She showed Mr. Ahmed the paper garden she had made. "Look, Daddy. Mommy helped me." Mr. Ahmed knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "It is beautiful, Noor. You are amazing," he said gently. Noor beamed at both him and Amina. She did not see differences in their roles. To her, they were people who loved her. She felt safe, and that feeling made her strong. When it was time for Amina to leave, Noor ran to her and hugged her tightly. "See you tomorrow, Mommy," she asked hopefully. Amina smiled, holding Noor close. Of course, Noor. Tomorrow and every day. As she left, Mr. Ahmed watched them. His heart felt heavy, but in a different way now. He understood that Noor's happiness was more important than control or authority. She had chosen someone who gave her joy and warmth, and that choice mattered. That night, Noor slept holding one of the paper flowers from the garden they had made together. Mr. Ahmed sat beside her bed, thinking about the day. For the first time in weeks, he felt hope, a quiet, gentle hope. He knew the journey was far from over. Noor was still sick, and there were still challenges ahead. But he had learned a new lesson: sometimes healing begins with laughter, sometimes it begins with love, and sometimes it comes from someone unexpected. And in Noor's small smile, he saw a light he had been searching for, a light that promised brighter days, stronger laughter, and a heart full of love. Days passed, and Amina continued visiting Noor every morning. Each day, Noor grew stronger, not just in body, but in spirit. Her laughter returned fully, her small steps were steadier, and her curious eyes shone with life. Mr. Ahmed noticed the change. Noor asked for Amina first thing in the morning. "Mommy, will you come today?" she asked, her voice full of hope. He nodded, feeling both happiness and a strange unease. He had never expected a stranger to become so important to his daughter. Yet, he could not deny the truth: Noor needed Amina, and she loved her. Amina's way with Noor was simple but magical. She brought small games, soft stories, and little surprises. But more than anything, she gave Noor her full attention. She listened when Noor spoke, smiled when Noor laughed, and comforted her when she felt weak. One afternoon, Amina asked, "Noor, do you want to tell me a story about your favorite dream?" Noor thought for a moment, her small fingers fiddling with a piece of paper. Then she began, "I dreamed I was flying in the sky with colorful birds. They sang songs and showed me a hidden garden with magical flowers." Amina nodded encouragingly. "That sounds wonderful. Can you show me with your paper?" Together, they built the dream with colors, shapes, and imagination. Noor's laughter filled the room, and even Mr. Ahmed felt a warmth he had not felt in months. He watched quietly, understanding something he had never considered before. Doctors could treat the body, but Amina was treating Noor's heart. She was giving her joy, hope, and trust. These were things that money could not buy, and authority could not command. One day, Noor fell asleep in Amina's lap while they were reading a story. Mr. Ahmed saw it and felt a mix of emotions. He wanted to protect her, to shield her from all harm. But he also realized something important: Noor had chosen someone to trust. She had chosen someone to love. He gently walked to the window, giving them privacy. His heart ached in a different way now, a quiet ache, mixed with gratitude. For months, he had tried to control everything, to solve every problem with his wealth and influence. Now he understood that some things could not be controlled. Some things, like love and trust, had to grow naturally. The next morning, Noor woke up smiling. "Mommy, look. I drew a rainbow for you," she exclaimed, holding up a paper filled with bright colors. Amina smiled, kneeling beside her. "It's beautiful, Noor. You are very talented." Noor ran to Mr. Ahmed, holding the rainbow. "Daddy, look what Mommy helped me make." Mr. Ahmed took the paper, his eyes soft. He felt a deep pride in his daughter, but he also realized that Noor had found joy in a way he could not give her alone. He felt grateful to Amina for bringing light into his daughter's life. As the days went by, their bond grew stronger. Noor would tell Amina her little secrets, share her dreams, and even ask for her comfort when she felt tired. Mr. Ahmed noticed that Noor no longer dreaded her illness as much. She faced it with courage, with hope, and with laughter. One evening, Mr. Ahmed approached Amina quietly. "I need to understand something," he said softly. How is it that you can do what all the doctors could not? Amina looked at him gently. I don't try to fix her illness, sir. I try to give her care, attention, and love. Children heal faster when they feel safe and happy. That is all I do. He nodded slowly, realizing the truth in her words. He had spent years thinking money could solve everything. Now, he understood that some of the most important things in life could not be bought. Love, trust, and care were gifts that came from the heart, not from a bank account. That night, Noor fell asleep holding one of her paper flowers. Mr. Ahmed watched her, feeling a quiet peace. He knew that the journey was far from over. Noor was still sick, and challenges remained. But for the first time in months, he felt hope. Amina had not only given Noor laughter and joy, but she had also given Mr. Ahmed a lesson he would never forget: the greatest care comes from the heart, not from wealth or authority. And as he looked at his daughter's peaceful face, he silently promised that he would support this bond, no matter what. He realized that Noor's happiness mattered more than control, more than pride, more than anything else. For Noor, Amina was no longer just a visitor. She had become a part of her life, a trusted friend, a guide, and, in her small words, her mommy. And for Mr. Ahmed, this simple truth settled in his heart: love was more powerful than anything he had ever known, and it was the one thing Noor needed most. Weeks passed, and Noor's happiness grew brighter each day. Her laughter, once rare, now filled the house. Mr. Ahmed watched in quiet amazement as his daughter's energy returned little by little. She still had her moments of weakness, but her spirit was stronger than it had been for months. Amina's visits became the highlight of Noor's days. They painted, made paper animals, and told stories of magical lands where anything was possible. Noor would giggle endlessly at Amina's little jokes, and sometimes, she would curl up in her lap and whisper secrets. One evening, after Noor had gone to bed, Mr. Ahmed sat alone in his study, reflecting on everything that had happened. He thought about the thousands of dollars he had spent on doctors and treatments, and yet, it was Amina, a simple, kind-hearted woman, who had brought joy back to his daughter. He could no longer deny the truth. Money and influence could not replace love. All the tests, all the medicines, had their place, but the warmth of care and attention had given Noor something far greater: hope. The next morning, he called Amina to the study. I need to understand something, he said softly, trying to hide the emotion in his voice. How is it that you can do what all the doctors could not? Amina smiled gently. I don't try to fix her sickness, Mr. Ahmed, she replied. I try to help her feel loved, safe, and happy. When children feel that, they find strength inside themselves. That is all I do. Her words sank deeply into Mr. Ahmed's heart. He realized he had been so focused on curing her body that he had forgotten to care for her heart. He had underestimated the power of love, play, and attention. Later that day, Noor ran to him with a handmade card. Daddy, look. Mommy helped me make this, she exclaimed, holding out a paper filled with bright colors and stickers. Mr. Ahmed took it in his hands and smiled softly. He could feel Noor's love in the careful arrangement of the stickers, the bright colors, and the simple, heartfelt message she had written. It was not medicine that had brought her joy, it was someone who truly cared. He knelt beside her and whispered, "It's beautiful, Noor. Thank you for sharing it with me." Noor beamed and ran back to Amina, who had been quietly watching them. "See, Mommy. Daddy likes it," she said proudly. Amina smiled warmly. "I am glad he does, Noor," she said. For the first time, Mr. Ahmed felt something he had not felt in months: peace. He understood that Noor's happiness was more important than control, more important than pride, more important than anything money could buy. That evening, Mr. Ahmed sat in the garden, thinking about the journey so far. Noor's laughter had returned, her spirit was stronger, and her heart was full of trust. He realized that love, attention, and patience had done what all the doctor's treatments could not. He also realized another truth: Noor had chosen Amina herself. She had chosen someone to trust, someone to love. And he could not take that away from her. The next day, he watched from the doorway as Noor and Amina played with a small kite in the yard. Noor ran laughing, the wind catching the kite and lifting it high. She turned to Amina, her eyes sparkling. "Mommy, look. The kite is flying so high." Amina clapped softly. "You are doing amazing, Noor." Mr. Ahmed felt tears welling up in his eyes. For months, he had been searching for a solution to Noor's illness, believing it required money and expertise. But now he saw that the true solution was far simpler and far more powerful. It was care. It was love. It was someone being there for his daughter with patience and kindness. That night, as Noor slept holding the kite she had made, Mr. Ahmed reflected on what he had learned. He realized that being a good father was not about control or wealth. It was about understanding his child's needs, supporting her happiness, and allowing her to form bonds that brought her joy. He had thought he was the only one who could help Noor. But now he understood that sometimes, help comes from unexpected places. Sometimes, the people who touch hearts are not the ones with power or knowledge, but those with kindness, patience, and love. As he looked at his sleeping daughter, he whispered softly, "Thank you, Amina. Thank you for loving her the way I could not. I promise to always support you and her, no matter what." In that quiet moment, Mr. Ahmed made a promise not to fix everything with money, not to control everything with influence, but to be a father who supported love, who respected trust, and who valued happiness above all else. And in Noor's peaceful face, he saw a light he had longed for months, a light of hope, joy, and love that could not be measured by any doctor or any treatment. Noor's days grew brighter with each visit from Amina. Her laughter echoed through the house, and her small hands worked busily on drawings, crafts, and little projects. She was no longer the fragile, timid child who had spent months in bed. She was alive with energy, curiosity, and joy. Mr. Ahmed watched quietly, sometimes from the doorway, sometimes from the living room. He noticed the way Noor's eyes followed Amina, how she waited for her smile, how she rushed to show her every little creation. It was clear that Noor had formed a special bond, a trust so deep that it could not be measured by any test or report. One morning, Noor ran up to Amina, holding a basket filled with tiny paper flowers. "Mommy, look. I made these for you," she exclaimed proudly. Amina knelt down and hugged her tightly. "They are beautiful, Noor. I am so proud of you." Noor beamed. Then she turned to her father, holding out the basket. "Daddy, these are for you too." Mr. Ahmed felt a lump in his throat. His daughter's happiness was shining through every gesture. He realized that he could never have brought this joy alone. He had the power, the money, and the influence, but Amina had something he could not give: time, attention, and pure, patient love. Later that day, Mr. Ahmed walked quietly into Noor's room. Amina was reading a storybook, and Noor sat close, listening intently. He paused, watching them. Noor's face was lit with joy, her small hands gently turning the pages. A wave of emotion swept over him. He approached Amina and spoke softly. "I need to thank you," he said. "You have given Noor something I could not: happiness, joy, peace." Amina looked at him kindly. "Noor has always had that inside her, Mr. Ahmed. She just needed someone to help her feel it again. I only guided her." Mr. Ahmed nodded slowly. The truth was clear now. The doctors had tried to heal her body, but Amina had healed her heart. And in doing so, she had given Noor strength to face her illness with courage and hope. That evening, Noor tugged at her father's hand. "Daddy, come sit with us," she said, smiling brightly. He sat down beside them, watching as Noor told Amina about her day. She laughed at a story Amina told, and then, without hesitation, said softly, "Mommy, I am happy with you. You make me feel safe." Mr. Ahmed's eyes filled with tears. For months, he had been searching for a solution to his daughter's pain. Now he understood that happiness and trust were the real healing forces. He had tried to provide everything: money, doctors, medicine, but it was love that mattered most. Amina noticed his gaze and smiled gently. She chose joy, Mr. Ahmed. That is all that matters. The words struck him deeply. He realized that Noor had made a choice, and it was not a choice he could or should interfere with. He had tried to control her life in his way, but now he understood that supporting her happiness meant accepting her choices. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Noor and Amina grew stronger. Noor would rush to greet her every morning, show her every little creation, and share her secrets without fear. Mr. Ahmed felt a quiet peace knowing that his daughter was safe, loved, and cherished. One night, he watched Noor fall asleep holding the first paper flower she had ever made with Amina. He thought about the journey they had taken, the fear, the helplessness, the endless search for a cure. And now, he felt gratitude. Gratitude for Amina, who had brought light into their lives. Gratitude for Noor, who had shown him that love could heal wounds money could not. And gratitude for the lesson he had learned: being a parent was not about control or power. It was about understanding, patience, and supporting the people you love, even if it meant stepping aside and letting others help. As he whispered softly to himself, "Thank you, Amina, thank you for loving her the way she needed," he felt a sense of calm that had been missing for months. Noor stirred in her sleep, smiling faintly, and whispered, "Mommy." Mr. Ahmed smiled, feeling his heart swell. In that single word, he understood everything. His daughter had found the love she needed, and in that love, she was stronger than ever. For Mr. Ahmed, the lesson was complete: wealth could buy comfort, medicine could heal the body, but only love could heal the heart. And with Amina by her side, Noor's heart was full, safe, happy, and ready for the days ahead. The morning sun filled the room with soft golden light. Noor woke up with a smile on her face, stretching her small arms. "Mommy! Daddy! Come quickly," she shouted happily. Amina entered the room first, her gentle smile instantly making Noor giggle. Mr. Ahmed followed, his eyes soft as he watched his daughter. She was radiant, full of life, and filled with joy that had returned slowly but surely over the past weeks. Noor ran to Amina and hugged her tightly. "Mommy, the flowers we made yesterday are still blooming," she exclaimed. Amina laughed softly. "Yes, Noor. You took good care of them. You are a wonderful gardener." Mr. Ahmed watched quietly, feeling a wave of emotion wash over him. For months, he had struggled, searching for a way to heal his daughter. He had spent countless hours, money, and energy trying to find doctors, treatments, and medicines. And yet, it was Amina, a single mother with no wealth or power, who had brought his daughter back to life. Noor turned to him, holding out a small paper flower. "Daddy, this is for you too." He knelt and took it gently, feeling the simple paper in his hands. It was more than just a flower, it was a symbol of hope, trust, and love. He looked at Noor, and then at Amina, and realized something important. Noor had chosen. She had chosen someone to trust, someone to love. And in her choice, she had found happiness. Mr. Ahmed smiled softly, holding his daughter close. "I am so proud of you, Noor. And I am grateful to you too, Amina, for loving her and helping her smile again." Amina shook her head gently. "No, Mr. Ahmed. Noor had the strength inside her all along. I only helped her see it. She chose joy, and that is what matters." Noor's eyes sparkled. "Daddy, Mommy is here to stay with me, right?" Mr. Ahmed nodded, his heart full. Yes, Noor. She is here because you need her. And I will always support you both. The days that followed were filled with laughter, play, and joy. Noor's illness was still part of her life, but it no longer defined her. She faced each day with courage, hope, and happiness. The house, once quiet and filled with worry, was now alive with cheerful voices, giggles, and the sound of little footsteps running through the rooms. One afternoon, as Noor and Amina painted together, Mr. Ahmed sat nearby, reflecting on everything that had happened. He realized that being a good father was not about controlling everything or fixing everything with money. It was about understanding, supporting, and loving his child, even if it meant letting someone else help. Noor looked up at him and said softly, "Daddy, I love you. But I also love Mommy. Can we all be happy together?" Mr. Ahmed smiled, feeling tears welling up. "Yes, Noor. We will all be happy together." From that day on, their family was different but in the most beautiful way. Noor had two people who loved her deeply, who supported her, and who made her feel safe. Mr. Ahmed learned to step back and let her happiness guide his actions. And Amina, gentle and caring, became a permanent part of their lives, not just as a friend, but as a true mother figure for Noor. That evening, Noor fell asleep holding both Mr. Ahmed's hand and Amina's. She whispered softly, "Mommy. Daddy. I am happy." Mr. Ahmed and Amina exchanged a quiet glance. In that simple sentence, they understood everything. Noor's choice had brought them all together, teaching them that love, care, and trust were more powerful than wealth, status, or control. For Mr. Ahmed, the lesson was clear: being a parent was not about giving everything money could buy. It was about giving what mattered most: time, attention, patience, and love. He had tried to fix everything with power, but it was kindness and care that had healed his daughter's heart. And for Noor, she had everything a child could wish for: laughter, joy, and the love of both a devoted father and a caring mother. Her home was filled with warmth, her heart with trust, and her days with happiness. In that quiet, beautiful moment, the family was complete. Noor slept peacefully, Amina rested nearby, and Mr. Ahmed watched over them both, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Noor had chosen happiness. And because of her choice, they had all found something extraordinary: a family defined not by wealth, not by titles, but by love. The house was no longer just a home, it was a place of joy, trust, and hope. Noor's laughter would continue to echo through the rooms, reminding everyone that the simplest, purest love could heal hearts and bring people together in ways nothing else could. And as the stars appeared outside the window that night, Mr. Ahmed whispered softly, "Thank you, Noor, and thank you, Amina. You have given me the greatest gift of all: the happiness of my daughter." In that moment, everything felt right. Their family had been redefined not by power, not by money, but by the love they shared. And it would remain that way, forever.